Have you ever caught yourself staring into the mirror and thinking, when did I start looking this way? Maybe it was the first time you noticed more gray hairs than you remembered, or perhaps it was when your knees took just a little longer to bend and straighten back up. Aging has a way of sneaking up on us, and the truth is, it can sometimes feel scary. Not because growing older is bad, but because we've been conditioned to believe that aging means losing energy, losing independence, losing relevance. And that fear, more than the years themselves, is what can really weigh us down. But what if I told you that the fear of aging isn't something you're stuck with? What if I told you that by shifting the way you think about getting older, you could replace fear with freedom, joy, and even excitement for the years ahead? Today we're talking about 5 powerful mindset shifts that can truly erase the fear of growing older and instead open the door to a fuller, richer life no matter what number is on your birthday cake. The first shift is learning to see aging not as a decline, but as a privilege. Think about it. Every wrinkle, every gray strand of hair, every year added to your life is proof that you've been here long enough to experience things that not everyone gets to. Some people never make it to 60 or 70 or beyond. Every day we wake up as a gift, and when you frame aging as a privilege rather than a punishment, it transforms how you approach your daily life. Instead of dreading birthdays, you might begin to celebrate them as milestones of resilience, courage, and experience. Imagine sitting with a grandchild, sharing a story from your youth, and realizing that your years have given you the wisdom to guide someone else. That's not loss. That's a profound gain. Now, I know it's not always easy to see it this way, especially when your body doesn't feel as strong as it once did. But here's something powerful to remember. Growing older means you've had the chance to love, to laugh, to contribute, and to keep learning. That's a privilege countless people wish for. And when you lean into gratitude for the years you've been given, that fear of aging starts to loosen its grip. The second mindset shift is about redefining what it means to be valuable. Too often, society tells us that our worth is tied to productivity, youth, or appearances. We're bombarded with messages that younger is better, faster is stronger, and that after a certain age, you should step aside. But that's simply not true. Your value doesn't expire with age, it evolves. Think about all the ways your presence matters. Maybe it's the comfort you bring to a friend with just a phone call, the stability you provide in your family, or the perspective you offer because you've lived through decades of change. Younger people can run faster, yes, but they can't replace the richness of your wisdom. Imagine someone trying to put together a puzzle but missing half the corner pieces. That's what life would be like without the contributions of older generations. One of the most liberating things you can do as you age is to stop measuring your worth against the pace of the young and start honoring the depth of what you bring. When you embrace this, you'll see that your presence, your stories, and your guidance are more valuable now than ever before. Your value is not behind you, it's right here, in who you are today. The third shift, and this one might surprise you, is seeing change not as loss, but as an opportunity to grow. Aging naturally brings change. Maybe your eyesight isn't what it used to be, or maybe you've downsized into a smaller home, or said goodbye to a job you once loved. Those changes can feel like doors closing, and it's natural to grieve that. But here's the secret. With every door that closes, another one opens, and the key is to notice it. For example, maybe retirement feels like losing part of your identity. But it also opens space to explore hobbies, passions, or friendships you didn't have time for before. Maybe you can finally pick up painting, gardening, writing, or even travel more. Even small changes, like adjusting to a slower pace, can be reframed as opportunities for mindfulness, for savoring each moment instead of rushing through it. Yes, your body changes. Yes, your circumstances shift. But instead of seeing those changes as signs of decline, try viewing them as invitations, inviting you to discover new ways of living, new strengths within yourself, and new joys you might have overlooked. When you make peace with change and even embrace it, the fear of aging begins to dissolve, replaced by a sense of curiosity about what's still to come. If you're still watching and feel that these insights are meaningful, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell. so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. One of the most empowering shifts you can make as the years go by is to stop looking backward with regret and instead start looking forward with intention. So often, people over 60 fall into the trap of replaying past mistakes or wishing they had done things differently. Maybe you think about the job you didn't take, the trip you never went on, or the words you didn't say when you had the chance. Regret has a way of chaining us to the past, making us believe the best chapters are behind us. But here's the truth, no matter how many candles are on your cake, the story of your life isn't finished yet. There are still blank pages waiting to be written. This is the fourth mindset shift, choosing to see your future as open and full of possibility, rather than closed and predetermined. When you were younger, you probably had dreams, goals, and plans for the years ahead. Somewhere along the way, though, many people stop dreaming once they hit a certain age. They begin to think, it's too late for me. But let me tell you something, it's not too late. As long as you're breathing, it's not too late to learn something new, to start a new project, to take that trip, or to strengthen a relationship. There are countless stories of people who began new chapters later in life. There are 80-year-olds running marathons, 70-year-olds learning to paint for the first time, and grandparents starting small businesses from their kitchens. These aren't just exceptions, they're reminders that aging doesn't erase possibility, it simply invites you to approach it differently. Maybe your marathon looks more like walking 3 miles a day, or your business looks like selling homemade crafts online. The size of the dream isn't what matters, it's the spark it ignites inside you. When you begin to see your future as something you can shape, that fear of aging loses its bite. Instead of counting down the years, you start counting up the opportunities. Ask yourself, what is something I've always wanted to do but never gave myself permission to try? Write it down. Start small. That shift in thinking, from seeing life as winding down to seeing it as opening up, can bring an incredible sense of energy and freedom. And that brings us to the fifth and final mindset shift, learning to live in the present with joy, rather than living in fear of what might happen tomorrow. So much of the anxiety around aging comes from worrying about the what-ifs. What if my health declines? What if I become dependent? What if I outlive my savings? These are real concerns, and I won't pretend they don't matter. But when we live constantly in the what-ifs, we miss the beauty of what is happening right now. Think about it. How many times have you sat with a cup of coffee in the morning but your mind was already worrying about next week's doctor appointment? How often have you missed the laughter of your grandchildren because you were thinking about bills? The present moment is where life actually happens, yet it's the moment we neglect the most. The shift here is simple, but powerful, choosing to focus your attention on today. Notice the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of your food, the sound of birds outside your window. These aren't small things, they are the very fabric of a full life. When you train your mind to return to the present, the fear of tomorrow begins to soften. Because tomorrow will come whether we worry or not, but joy is something we can only experience if we allow ourselves to be here, now. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the future. It doesn't mean you don't plan or prepare. It simply means you don't let worry about the unknown steal the happiness available to you today. There's a saying that I love, worrying is like paying interest on a debt you may never owe. Why give away your peace for something that may never happen? Instead, savor the life you have in this very moment. And here's something beautiful, when you practice living in the present, it has a ripple effect. You become calmer, more content, and more connected to the people around you. Your children, your friends, even strangers will notice that you're at ease with yourself. And that sense of peace? It's contagious. Suddenly, instead of being weighed down by fear, you're lifting others up just by being fully alive in the moment. So as you think about this fifth shift, ask yourself, what is one small way I can bring myself back to the present today? Maybe it's turning off the television and sitting outside for a few minutes. Maybe it's savoring the flavors of your meal without rushing. Or maybe it's simply taking a deep breath and noticing how good it feels to be here, right now. These little practices help build a mindset where fear of aging has no room to grow. When you step back and take in all of these shifts together, something remarkable begins to happen. The heavy weight that often comes with thoughts of aging starts to lift, and in its place is a lightness you may not have felt in years. Aging is no longer the looming shadow it once seemed, but instead becomes another stage of the journey, filled with its own unique gifts and freedoms. Think about it. Once you stop comparing yourself to who you used to be, once you begin celebrating your strengths, and once you see aging as a badge of wisdom and experience rather than decline, the story of your life feels different. Then, when you let go of regrets and start shaping your future with intention, you are no longer trapped in the past, but walking with purpose into what lies ahead. And finally, when you learn to live in the present with joy, the fear of tomorrow no longer robs you of today. Together, these 5 shifts create a mindset that makes aging less about fear and more about freedom. Now, this doesn't mean life becomes magically easy. Challenges will still come. Bodies will still change. Loved ones may still leave us, and unexpected turns will arrive. But here's the difference: you won't face those moments with dread, you'll face them with strength. Because your mind has been trained to see possibility, to focus on gratitude, and to keep moving forward with courage. That resilience is what allows you to not just endure aging, but embrace it. I want you to picture this: waking up in the morning and feeling excitement about the day ahead rather than worry about the years behind you. Imagine looking in the mirror and smiling, not because your reflection is perfect, but because the person looking back at you is strong, experienced, and still capable of growth. Think about how it would feel to share laughter with family, to enjoy your favorite meal, or to try something new, not weighed down by the thought of time slipping away, but lifted by the joy of time well used. That's what these mindset shifts can do. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't take a grand gesture to begin. You don't have to change everything at once. In fact, it's the smallest adjustments that make the biggest difference. Maybe today, you decide to be kinder to yourself when you remember something you used to do with ease. Maybe tomorrow, you take 10 minutes to write down something you're proud of from your journey. The next day, you might sit quietly and breathe in the moment, savoring the present. Step by step, thought by thought, you're creating a new way of seeing aging, not as something to fear, but as something to live fully. And as you do this, you may notice something else: your courage becomes an example. Others around you, perhaps friends or family who might also feel uncertain about growing older, will see your peace and your energy. They'll notice that instead of shrinking back from life, you're leaning into it. And in doing so, you give them permission to do the same. You become a light in their lives, showing them that aging doesn't mean losing yourself, but rediscovering yourself. So if you've been carrying fear about getting older, I want you to remember this: fear thrives in the shadows, but the moment you bring light to it, through gratitude, through courage, through presence, it begins to disappear. You are not defined by your age, but by how you choose to live each day. Every morning gives you a chance to start again, to shift your perspective, to add another beautiful brushstroke to the masterpiece of your life. I'd love for you to take a moment right now and reflect. Which of these 5 shifts speaks to you the most? Maybe it's letting go of comparisons, or maybe it's learning to savor the present. Whatever it is, hold on to it, practice it, and notice how it begins to change not just your thoughts, but how you feel each day. If this conversation has resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts, your stories, or your own tips in the comments below. I always enjoy hearing from you, and your words might just inspire someone else who needs encouragement today. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more conversations like this one. Most importantly, carry this with you: aging is not something to fear, it's a privilege denied to many, and it's a chance to keep living, learning, and loving in ways only you can. So here's to embracing each year with gratitude, to walking forward with confidence, and to discovering that the best parts of your life may still be unfolding. Because no matter your age, you still have so much life left to live, and it's worth celebrating every single day. Here's to living with courage, joy, and peace at 60, 70, 80, and beyond.